Okay, this time we're going to be talking about how to use the wireless remote for this. And the first thing is to make sure that you are set up properly. So we have this little Wi-Fi transmitter here. This is just standard Wi-Fi. And we go into the setup menu over here. So in network, we see that this IP address 192.168.0.100, subnet is all 255s except for the last one is 0, and the gateway 192.168.0.77. So those settings work to connect to this router here. Now over here on an iPad, let's go find that Wi-Fi, and I gave it the name Creative 524 because that was my old Wi-Fi device, and we'll just leave it as such. And you see there are other Wi-Fis here. You have to be connected to Creative 524 to make this work. The password is RHEMAARTS. RHEMAARTS, all lowercase. That gets you into the Wi-Fi for the network. And you can change these settings later, but that's the current arrangement. Okay, so now that we're on that network, we come back here and we open up X32 Mix, which can be downloaded from Behringer, BEHRINGER.com, X32-Mix. And let me go to our setup page. Over here, we need to include that IP address that was at the top of the other page, the 192.168.0.100 in green. You have to enter that into your device, otherwise it won't show up. And then hit connect, and it will connect you. Now this one's already connected, so you see it's already working there. Okay, so now we're connected, and I'm going to go back to home. It shows us what's happening on the mix board on the Wi-Fi, and we can control it. So if I'm changing a mix down here, I'm changing it up there as well. If I change a mix up here, it shows up on the Wi-Fi as well. So generally when I'm at a board, I much prefer to use my hands here on the board. But the thing this is great for is, A, you can go down and sit with your family during the service if you want to mix audio and still listen. The one problem is you won't be able to monitor your output to the stream unless you have a device down there that is on the stream and you're listening to hear what it is. But be aware there's going to be anywhere from a 20 second to 2 minute delay on the stream. So if it's anything complex, you really have to be at the board listening on these headsets here to know what's happening. But this gives you the ability to go down and check things like the narthex mix and make sure it sounds good. To go out in the sanctuary when the organ is playing and listen to the mix of the organ and soloist, because up here that organ is so loud right behind your head, you don't really know how the mix is in the room, but going down there you can tell what works. And so this just gives you more flexibility. And you select home, and then this shows you what's on faders 1 through 8. Hit the next button and it shows you what's on 9 through 16. You can go down to the aux inputs, and it shows you that auxiliary input from this 1/8 inch cord that's sitting over here on aux 5 and 6 coming in there. And we chose 5 and 6 because they have the RCA inputs on the back of the board, and that was the easiest one to patch that headphone jack into. That can be rerouted inside the mixer, but we haven't done that yet. So this allows you to remote control the mixer from anywhere in the sanctuary. And then we're going to talk also one more thing, and that is saving your mixes. So, or excuse me, I should say your setup. There is a little corner over here that says Scenes. If I select Scenes, hit View, that brings it up on this menu. That's one thing about this mixing board you should know, actually, that anything you select View on over here, threshold, it shows you the gating threshold if you click View for whatever you have selected. Compressor, if you hit View down there, it shows you the compression for the channel that you've hit select on. Not solo, but the green select button. So if I wanted to, say, add a noise gate on the podium mic, because I'm hearing too much ambient noise in the room, I would select podium, and then I would go to gate over here, and I would view the gate, and I could turn it on just by pushing this button, and you'll notice that the line goes from gray to yellow to show that it's activated. Well, actually, that's got a very aggressive setting on it right now that should be turned down. Just a little bit of noise gating going on there, so if there's nothing at all in the room, it's not going to be making any noise in the room. That gate is turned on and off here, but is viewed by pushing the view button. So you can push this view button and have it lit red, but if that gate button isn't lit also, you're not doing any gating. The place where I use this a lot is in EQ, because if you press the EQ button, you can see up there what's happening to the sound in the room, and you can turn the EQ on and off and compare. If you want to adjust the lows, you have to hit low and then adjust the amount, the center frequency, and the width. There's a low mid, a mid high, and a high, and then that's for most of the inputs. On all the outputs, like if we go over here to Narthex and select EQ, and we're viewing it up here, there are 6 bands now, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and you get in the middle, so you got 1, and then to get between them, you hit both of them together, and now you're adjusting the middle band and then the next one, and that gives you a little more control, which is useful for tweaking the output to speakers that have feedback and things like that. But I've already set this up, so you shouldn't need to do that. Okay, so we want to adjust or to save a scene again, so we're going to go back here and hit Scenes. We're going to view it, and now up here on the menu, Scenes is the second window, so I have to tab over to Scenes. I've already got several saved there. Well, I'm going to save the current setting as the baseline. So I scroll up and down using this first knob to find baseline, and then I hit Save to Scene, and it asks me, do you want to make any notes to it? Yeah, and I'm going to click on the Name Note toggle to go over to the note field, and I'm going to call this, scroll around and then press click A, find F, click for the F, back to E, forward to T, and Y, click. If I wanted to change numbers, I roll this next knob, and then it changes from capitals to lowercase to numbers. There's an update for the board, and this will change soon. It'll look a little different when I include the update, but the functionality is the same. It's just it looks a little different on the screen. When you're all done, you click over here on Save. It says, do you really want to do it? Hit the page right button here. Yes, I really want to save it, and it's saved now. And it says Safety up there. So if you need to recall a scene, let me do that. I'll hit Load. I'll dial down to an old one that we had, 1220. So I'll click on Load, and I'll say, do you really want to load? And when I hit Yes, notice the whole board changes. Everything's now different than it was. But I really want this other one that we just did. So I'm going to load that. Load Yes, and hit Yes. And look, our board is right back to where it was. All the colors are the same. All the levels are the same. You have 100 different settings here that you can save in the scenes, and I usually use the very last one. 99 is the ultimate backup copy safe that no one should ever touch, and then these ones here I just increment. So you got baseline at 0, 0. Then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 are just if we make tweaks and adjustments along the way. Maybe you've got a special service set up with music and other singers and things coming in, a performing group coming in. You can save that setting into one of the new locations, use it for the service, and then immediately load the other set and go right back to where the board was before. The important thing is just not to record over your safeties. And these also, you'll notice the last two here are to load and save settings to USB drive. That's this USB up here, and you can save it onto the drive, onto an external drive. This is the same drive that you can record your sermons on, by the way. And you can save the settings there. It's just a tiny text file. You can copy that onto a computer somewhere, save it away in the office, and have a safe copy of it as well.